Hey all, welcome back to Three Heroes, One Chaff, Basic Blasters. We'll be blasting some knowledge right into your cerebral cortex. Today we're going to be talking about the Kruleboyz Monsta-Killaz, special guest Mike, or as you may know from Discord, Arm War Enthusiast 7. Watch out for the other 6. But before we get started here, I just want to remind everyone, please be a hero, don't be a chaff. Like and subscribe really helps us get the numbers up, gives us the motivation to do these videos, and of course, don't forget to comment. Those comments really help us direct the future of this channel. But honestly, today I'm the student. I don't play pretty much anything in destruction, so I'm gonna let Rob and Mike take it away here. So I'll pass it to you, Mike. You're the guy who just took us to a second place finish at Adepticon. So
It's first place to
Yeah,
lose.
guys.
Sick.
Yeah, no, this is one of my favorite war bands to play. When they came out, Rob was getting crazy with them, and then I just happened to be able to pick up a set of them pretty cheap and decided to play them in local league. And I was like, these are so much fun to play. These are a blast. And then then I have my whole conversion project. But yeah, no, they're an awesome war band, super cool.
yeah, let's talk about them, right? What's the pros, the cons, the vibes? I mean, ton of pros. They won you a tournament, so
For sure. Yeah,
and,
no,
not, and not
so
even on the typical, like what you'd think, right? Like, because they're super lethal with their abilities, and they're just crazy armor ignoring abilities, like on dice. And I think the biggest thing that he won utilizing, right? If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, is like the baked in net and zone control,
Yeah,
right?
the reaction for the warband, we'll get into it, but it does so much to help you control the board, and then bringing a lot of bodies with them helps you just kind of Kyle knows get to play a little weight action sim. But yeah, no, you get either a net or you get some damage, and it's just so helpful. Synergizes so well with the warband for sure. But they're not. It's not all good news though, because they are paper thin. Toughness 3, other than I think the leader and the Eggrots and stuff like that. So yeah, they die pretty quickly if you decide to stand and try to bash with them, and they can be kind of slow. The monkeys got some quickness, but overall, I think they really. They they kind of stumble across the board sometimes, but like I
Yeah.
mean, go ahead, Rob.
If you like Calthea and you like free cheating movements, you're not playing this. This is not for
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
But like you said, like the cool part about this, I think that they're very unique for an Orc war clan, is they're not just
Mhm.
big dudes barging in there. Let's brawl. They don't want to brawl. They're not great on a brawl. They're a very precision war band. It's going to test what skill you have and threat assessment, and also
Mhm.
how and where you want to position on the board. High risk, high reward. And at
Mhm.
any moment, those dice, if they're good, they feel unstoppable. You're
Yeah,
blowing
for
people out
sure.
of the water. But if you're missing, man, and you spent a triple to do 3 damage, life is bad. Also, you get to be a little bit of a dirtbag. Everybody has almost, except for the monkey, everybody has a chance to net on a reaction, which is just
definitely.
infuriating.
And having played against these a lot because of both of you guys, I do have to say that reaction ability we'll talk about later. Yeah, it feels like being a dirtbag. I just moved and it was like, okay, you took 8 damage because you climbed deadly terrain and my reaction. I'm like, oh, thanks, 8 damage for existing. Great, so happy for that.
It's partially skill, right? But it's
Yeah.
partially you just get to be a nasty bugger.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's a lot of fun for it's just very untypical work vibes.
Mhm.
But I mean, going through here, it seems like they have just a little below average toughness at 3
Mhm.
rather than that 3.54 range. They do have a pretty strong strength, which goes to that,
Mhm.
very kind of lethal aspect to it. Average number of wounds, pretty high, which, sure, your toughness would be low, makes up for it in a little bit of wounds. Um, you do talk about the average move here not being good for this warband, which I think a lot of folks watching this will see as we get to the examples later and see how this warband wants to play, really would benefit from a much higher move. And then
Mhm.
just kind of a average warband size, which not always the best when you want to use their amazing reaction. But let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about some of the roles and responsibilities of these guys.
Mike,
Rob, you
give
want to
us
hit the big
you.
me?
Ooh, ooh,
Same time,
ooh,
ready?
ooh.
Figure
Yeah,
it out. You get that knob.
you want me to get that knob?
Get that knob.
I polished that knob. Look, you got you got the beast knob. This is your big boss. I remember when this was first dropped, and we were like 200 points for 4 attacks, 6 strength, 3-5, and it's got a ranged attack, so it's got
Mhm.
built-in net protection. T4, 2-4, 8-inch no minimum, pretty good if it's like in a pinch. 4 move, there's that basic move. 4 toughness, that's like one of the high. I think it's the highest tied with the egg rot,
Yep.
and 25 wounds for 200 points, man. This is a bargain bin steal. Stonks are high. He's your damage dealer. He's got a really unique, like, pseudo tank ability. We'll discuss it. It's called Cruel Taunt. And he just smacks kids, dude. This guy has walloped things. Imagine like when you like got the Eskergan True Blade, Kyle, and you're like, oh, it needs another dice, right? Like this is the Eskergan True Blade with the extra dice. It is that good. It's what we thought it
It
would be.
100%. And I really want to say the best part about this model, he's got some serious swag. It's probably the coolest looking
Mhm.
Mm.
model in the entire Warband, in my opinion. Like,
He's
Yeah,
got
he's
big.
loaded up with goodies. He's been
oh
he's
yeah,
been collecting trinkets in the Narwhal.
He's got a big Macklemore thrift shop vibes when
Yeah.
he comes out
yeah.
with the fur coat. He's just got a lot of stuff on. It's great. It's great. Run us down on the monkey. You love the monkey.
Yeah, monkeys are one of my favorite pieces. I like to describe them when I'm playing them as running across the board and caving skulls in. They're the fastest thing in the warband, right? They got that 6 moves, so they're really able to zip where you need them to be. They've got the beast rune mark, which means they're not carrying treasure, which sucks because you want that high move to be able to snag treasures. So that's kind of a bummer for them. But it does mean that they cost less, only at 125 points. Their attack profile is just wild. Though you're chucking handful of dice, 5 attacks. It's only 3 strength, so you're in trouble sometimes when somebody's countering you. But when they as any dice game goes, when the dice are going your way, you're in business because that 2-4 damage profile really stacks up quickly. They've only got that 3 toughness, but they do have 18 wounds, and that's kind of a point that I really like. Getting over 15 wounds into that 18 wound range really helps them, survive versus some bigger stuff. So, but yeah, they're great at moving around, hopping onto an objective that maybe your opponent's not expecting them to be able to get on. They can tie stuff up, like if you got a big nasty brawler on the other side. Again, that 18 wounds is really good at just kind of surviving at least one attack action from most of the 4-8 damage profiles. So yeah, they're good at just clogging up the board for letting your other guys fight.
All right. Well,
Um,
we know Mike wants to return to monkey at this point, so uh,
one one of the best parts about them, and as he was saying, just tagging models getting in the way. When I was playing with them and I was running a warband of 7, I used one to effectively zip in off a board edge, tie up a ranged unit like an arbalester or an aether cannon. Just sit. I don't care. It's got 18 wounds. It's just got to sit. It's going to get
Mhm.
smacked around. It will smack something around, but it gives time for everything else to develop on the board safer.
Mhm.
And if anybody wants to disengage, it just runs you down. You're not outrunning it as a dwarf, like, or anything else like that. It just runs. It gets up on trees. It gets in everywhere it needs to be. It's a fun, really fun model to use. And if you attack stuff without, if it can't counter you, like it's all upside. It's all
Mhm.
it's all upside.
And there's some synergy too that we'll get into in a little
Yeah,
bit, but
we'll go later. We have a slide for that, I think.
for sure.
can we just
Uh,
skip neck slicers because they've killed about 99% of my models? So
oh, but when your models come back on a triple, I mean, what does it matter, Kyle? When
fair.
I kill the same model 4 times, it only counts as one model. We're not having a good time. Um, no, in all honesty, neck slice has got 3 variants. We're gonna discuss mainly 2 of them because they're the more impactful people with impactful abilities. And we look at the Bone Hacka, 2-inch range, 3-5-2-4. It's not bad. We could talk about the ability where if something's damaged, we can pump those numbers up, but that's the least of what we're gonna use it. 3 toughness, 15 wounds. There it is again. But you know what? We have some wounds to back up the low T. We have ways to chip as it's coming in. It's got Saw 'em Up, man, which is like this awesome gamble ability. We'll talk about that later. It has the ability to just blow something up with like high T, or it has the ability to do nothing. You waste a triple and then you feel sad. So it's it's a crazy model. It's so much fun to play though. And then tell us about the harpoon there.
Yeah, those the beast stick of harpoons, super fun guys. I've probably one of my Rob, I think Salmont might be your fave out of this suite of abilities, but Rip It Out with these guys I think is mine. They just have, this awesome ranged attack that is the exact same profile for damage and stuff like that as their melee. So you can either choose to, attack while you're in melee, or you can choose to use this 8-inch range to rip it across the board. Having that no minimum range is fun because you can use a range attack and not get countered with these guys, which is really nice. But yeah, that 2-5 damage, you're only chucking 2 dice, but man, when you get those 5s and then combined with that rip it out ability, you can really crank out some serious damage just on 2 attacks with these guys. But same, they've got the move 4, they got the tough through, the 15 wounds, which is we're gonna see that for all of these guys. He just wants to pick stuff off. He wants to either weaken things on the board, or he really wants to just clean off even like chaff, pretty easy to kill, but like even some mid-range stuff. This guy, if he gets 2 attacks and can use the ability, he can clean them up. So Rip It Out, we'll get into it, but it's so much fun to use. It's just you really get to choose when you want to apply it, and it rocks.
There's one more that is underused here, right? The neck smasher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like generic mid-range guy. He's just like 4.424, 4.315, 110. Solid mid-range fighter. He's a beater, but like compared to not having saw him up or rip him out, like he's not specializing in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just, I think when I opened the box, I opened 2 boxes. I did like 3 harpoons and 3 saws, just because I was like, this is what we're doing, because this is like the way to go. I'm never going to be like, I can't wait for my 4.424. Like, not for this. Not on Rip It Out. It's insane, dude. Moving 4, throwing 8. What is that? 11 inches. Just pick off a chaff right off an opening salvo, and they're just like, there's nothing you could do about it. Like you crit hit, and then you hit like for 6 additional. You're hitting for what is that? 7 and 6. You're hitting for 13, right? I get it.
You got it. I'll get a sticker on the chart, Rob. Good job, buddy.
For those watching, to rip them up, we'll talk about in the next slide and talk you through it. So,
and then I'm just going to talk about the one Bala Boy. Bala Boy is pretty much the tech for Drum and Holler, but having a 3, it's like got similar stats to the Monkey, right? Where it's 3 inches of threat of 5 attacks, 3, 1-4, not 2-4, but you're only paying 110, 15 wounds. You're crit fishing with this. It works with another ability we'll talk about. Again, good chaff killer. At the very least, you can use them as a reaction machine in conjunction with the Clutch of Grot, which we're going to get to because Mike and I are in love with the Clutch of Grot. It is MVP. I don't care what anyone says. It is one of the best units here. It's so innocuous. Like you look at it, you're like 6 health. It looks stupid. But the Flaga, if you think about it, the Monkey runs 6, swings out 1. That's 7. This runs out 4, swings out 3. That's 7. So and you're not engaged, and you could swing over people. And there's so many, like you could swing up high, hit on ledges and stuff. It's hard to take it over having an additional harpoon if you can afford those points, or an additional saw, even a monkey. But if you're in a meta where Drum and Holler can like tech to really just do some damage, it's a pretty wild ability. But now, Michael, I'm going to let you talk about the Clutch of Grot, because it is the bestest boy of the bunch.
So this was like the first model, or one of the first models that we saw, I think, when they announced.
You and I saw them, and I was like, it's broken, and like everyone's like, it sucks, and I'm like, no, it's broken. You and I were like, it's broken.
Is that, first of all, everyone in this Warband having 15 wounds is nuts, right? Even if that 2-3.
It's
but why does the guy that's holding an egg, an object known to be fragile, have an extra toughness?
He's got the armor on his back, my boy. He's got the turtle shells. He's got the big bracers on. Look at him. He's
got those spikes too. You try to get close to him, Kyle. I dare you. Bring one of your skeletons near him. See what happens. See how tough he is. He's this little guy is just a blast. Super delicate, although ends up playing less delicate than he looks. That 6 wounds obviously is very frail. I think there's only 1 less wound profile that you can be. I think there's some 4 wound profiles out there. Very few and far between though. But that 4 toughness, you got to hit still. You got to crit or you got to hit. And so somebody will just like chaff at and stuff like that. And it's actually relatively survivable with that 4 toughness. He's got a stupid a really stupid attack profile. You almost never use it, but he hits. Look at this guy. He's a 60-point model that's hitting 2-3, right? Sure. The
Right.
strength is 2. The only thing I think you can hit skinks on 4s, which is fun. But he's got 3 dice and he can do 2-3 damage. If you get a 5 and a 6, that's 5 damage, right? On a guy that should be essentially doing nothing. The thing is, you're never attacking with them almost, because almost the only thing you want to do with these guys is either wait with them or shift them around, because they have the best way to just kind of project the reaction that we're going to look at in the entire warband. That's kind of what they're there for. They're there to use the reaction as well as get you activation advantage with them. So and they look great. They're great. They're super
awesome.
cool. Love
They're
them.
fun to
They
paint.
got an egg. They're holding an egg. So no notes.
And we're going to show some tricks with these guys and how exactly that reaction works. Some of the later slides, so you could see exactly how we're utilizing that weight ability, which of course I love, and the reaction to really mess with people. But we've been talking about them. Let's go through these abilities, all right? So, like Mike, to start us off, let's talk about the egg. Let's talk about that reaction.
Yeah, I think we should start at the bottom here, right? The reaction is really, I think, what turns this warband from being just fine into, oh, we got something here. We got a big old green heart next to it, because it really is, core and fundamental to how this warband mostly wants to play. So, do you want me to we reading them, or you just want me to summarize it? What do you think?
Just summarize it.
Summarize.
Hopefully
Cool. So,
people
yeah,
watching this, they can read.
yeah.
They're good.
For sure. So we gotta basically create a 6-inch bubble, and any only move actions, not disengages, but any move action that ends in there from an enemy model, you can use a reaction, and you roll a dice, and on a 5-up, you can either choose to do 4 damage to them, or you can prevent them from moving, or is it or disengaging? I can't remember that now. Actually, just prevent them from moving for the rest of the round. So, either a ton of damage or essentially a net ability stops them from going anywhere. If you miss that 5-up roll, you still just do 2 damage. So it's guaranteed flat 2 damage no matter what. Or you can choose to have, a very powerful ability essentially in stopping them from moving with it. And so, everybody except the monkeys in the warband can use this ability. But yeah, egg ruts are really the ones that love it. That's their biggest bread and butter for what they want to do.
I mean, that's crazy. A chaff model just on a reaction doing a flat 2 damage to like a T6 Stormcast.
Yep.
Right? Like just armor piercing. Nope, just happens. Nothing you can do about it. Just don't move within 6 inches of it. It's just a huge bubble.
We put a pile of sticks on the ground and now you're hurt. Sorry, bud.
Yeah. Like it's also attacks, right? Like you want to move into me. I'm threatening the potential of saying you're done moving, or I'm threatening it's just flat 4 damage. Going through a Stormcast Eternal, like look at my big shield boy, 4 damage down to 16. Like that's insane, right? The best part about it too is like if anybody's low on like you countered them down to 2 or 1 life, they cannot move.
Yep.
Because then they just go move and you go react. You're dead. You don't even have to roll the dice.
You're trapped in here with me.
You're right. It's absolutely bananas. And in the times where they do get to the eggs, because there are some fast fighters out there, it's like react. Oh, I know you're engaged with me, so I'm not going to net you. I rolled the 5. Here's 4. Oh, you're swinging, and I'm going to counter now. Oh, you rolled poorly. Here's another 3 or 4. All of a sudden, 60 points has done anywhere from 2 to like 8 damage, and you're just sitting there looking at it. Why is this thing still alive? It's a huge roadblock. Now you have to kill it, and it's just going to get another counter off you. It's wild. It's honestly such an amazing reaction that you can use across the board. You're most likely saving it for at worst the ball of boy, but typically the eggs. But let's go down. We're going to jump up real quick to Cruel Taunt. If you look up there, I mentioned it with the Beast Knob, and it's value of the dice. You're going to subtract 2 from hit and crit damage onto a target if they do not attack the Beast Knob. So basically, we're going to show you a trick later how to use this appropriately. Like you don't want to use it and then have them walk to fight you. The whole point is use it to debuff and be out of range for them to even come and get you. And being able to say like, "Ooh, that's a cute like I really like your Neve Black Talon. It's really cool." Well, now it's a 1/2, and then they're just like, I'm not having a good time, or they're making misplays to go out of their way to get to your guy. And guess what? If they're moving to do that, something else is reacting in conjunction to try and stop it.
Mhm.
So they've wasted in time, like time walk themselves. It's pretty sick. But
Yeah.
it's not as used as much as you would think it is. It's a really clever move when you do it. When you're like, in a pinch, we're about to be in a scrum
Mhm.
because they don't like being in scrums. Let's use it on the guy in front of me who's already engaged, and then I'm going to go do something else and fight someone else.
The problem is
And
rip it out for a double is just really, really strong.
yeah, dude, Mike, you could read rip it
It's
out. Rip it out's like it's one of the most amazing abilities. Like
yeah.
honestly, on a double.
It's so much fun. It's got essentially the whatever the value of the dice is. When you have to declare this ability before you attack. On the next attack action that you're making, if you get a hit or a crit, which is huge because there's stuff like the Wildercore dogs that have to hit, only hit, so crits don't count. This one is hit or crit, which is super helpful because the whole 6 extra opportunity to pop it off. But whatever you're doing as far as damage, you just add the value of the dice to that. So we talked about that's the 2 dice. It's a 2-5 profile. So if I roll, a hit and a crit, I'm doing 7 damage, and if I popped rip it out and I've got even a value like 4 or 5, it's massive. So yeah, it's really super super powerful to be able to pop it off. So actually, yeah, sorry, does it say maybe it is only on hits?
It's only on hits.
It's
It
only
is on
hits.
hits.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
hits.
Got you there.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I know. I take it all back. It's exactly the same as the dogs. But yeah, so you can go from this even just like a single hit, right? You're doing 2 damage. Well, all of a sudden, I use my double 4, and I'm doing 6 damage to you.
Right.
So yeah, it can really really chunk up damage fast.
Then we
Right.
just got Krule Stabbin underneath, right? It's just you're adding 1 to the damage points,
Mhm.
but each hit and crit this time, unlike Rip It Out, which is just on the hit. Made by the fighter, that target enemy fighters 5 or more damage points allocated to them. So like, oh, this guy's already damaged. Cool. Now I get to do more damage to you because you're already
Mhm.
damaged. So you can see how that partners well with the egg rots chipping you down because you can go
Yep.
2, 4, 6. All of a sudden, Krule Stabbin's activated, or even rip them out single hit deals an extra 4 damage. Krule
Mhm.
Stabbin's now activated, ready to go.
Yep.
Turning your beast knob into from a 3-5 to a 4-6 is no joke. What I've used it the most on, besides the bone hackers with the axes, like the saws, turning them into 3-5, 3-5. Believe it or not, the Flaga with the whips going 5-3, 2-5 is kind of nuts with them. If you have the dice to spend for them, that can really catch people off guard because all of a sudden you're just dumping, like you dump 10 dice at somebody, it's going to do something. And it's
Mhm.
it's not our priority, but it's also something in a pinch. Do I need to burn and burst something down? I can use this instead of like, oh, they think I'm
I mean,
gonna
it's
do
good too
something
though
else.
because it doesn't rely on the dice value, right? Like double ones is the
Mhm.
Right.
same as double sixes, whereas rip
Mhm.
it out, you want like a double 6, double 5, whatever it
Yeah, you
is.
need that high value. Same with Cruel Taunt too, right? It's
Right,
value based for the distance, so you
distance.
have to. Yeah, you're reliant on whatever you rolled with it. But
But
Right.
we know Rob loves
um,
Saw 'em up because he's used that
Oh.
ability on me way too many times.
I you're the only person I've consistently rolled straights. Let me
Every
there's a
time.
there's a lot of I think one burnt down a Morghast Harbinger you were playing. I like chewed through 35 wounds in one.
well,
It was like
well,
I rolled 18 on it. Anyway, what it is pretty much is you roll the value of dice or the value of the dice that you says your triple. So you have a triple 5, you're rolling 5. If you have a triple 6, so on and so forth, you're rolling 6, right? You count straights, right? So one,
mhm.
two, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. You don't add duplicates for it. For each straight, it's 3 damage. So at minimum, you have a one of a kind. It's 3 damage.
It has
Two,
to be min. It has to be min 2 on
let's be
there.
min two. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. So
you
six
can.
damage is what it is.
Mhm.
I've not really seen anything like ever and I rolled 6 only, like 6 damage, and it feels terrible. But like
Yep.
this is where we're talking about the high risk, high reward. How at
Yeah.
any point this warband can just blow you out. I had it in league, and I went against the Stormcast Eternal, and then I rolled 12 damage on him.
Mm.
And then you roll a
Yeah, how
crit or two
many?
after that, and they're just done. And all of a sudden, it's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
You just turn around. But then again, you could roll 6 damage, waste a triple, or not roll anything, and that just feels horrible because I have done that. And I'm like, well, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
armor
sucks to
piercing
feel like I should have
damage.
just onslaughted.
I should have
Armor
just onslaughted, right?
armor
Yeah.
piercing damage is always worth it though,
It's
right?
so
Like
worth it though.
just
Mhm.
completely ignoring a section of the game and saying like I don't care what your toughness is, and you're just
Mhm.
deleted. Because even if you only get 6, it still activates Krule Stabbin for the next turn, right? Like so, it's just
Right.
beneficial no matter what.
And
Right.
it's on the profile that's got a 5 strength as well with the 2/4
Right.
damage profile. So, add that 6 damage if you're double attacking, you're rolling 6 dice. So, if you're hitting on 4s on average, you're really chunking some good damage in there. On
Right.
top of it, you can kill, you can either finish if you've managed to use the reaction to chip stuff down. Stuff might be in range all of a sudden, right? And that's where the synergy of all these abilities is just incredible. They really work so
Right.
well together.
The
This is
last
one of
two,
the
I
best
don't
releases.
think I've seen you guys use too much against me. Like Drum and Holler is interesting because on a triple you get a 6-inch bubble that uh, enemy fighters can't make reactions, right?
Mhm.
So really good if you're going up against like a high toughness warband like Ossiarch Bone Reapers who want to counter you to death. Suddenly they can't do that anymore. Or even if you think of like the Skinks, right? They want to get attacked, get that free disengage. Suddenly you can't disengage away from me
Right.
anymore. So it's very
Mhm.
kind of like specific scenarios, but when it works, it is amazing.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
kind of ability that can win you games or do absolutely nothing. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of when you're bringing it, you're kind of hedging that. Okay, I need to have a plan for these high toughness war bands beyond just my regular abilities. So yeah, you can when you pop it, you're like, oh yeah, this is the stuff, baby.
Right.
And then Nasty Muggin, which has my vote for one of the best named abilities in the game. Like, you're going to mug you. Like, what?
It's have you used this yet, Mike? Have you used it at all?
I I look for it every game, and I almost
I look
never
for
get
it.
to get it off.
I used
Every
it
time I have a positioning, I don't get a quad. And every time I get a quad, I'm like, "There's nobody here. I can't use it."
right. I've like so like the cool part about other than well even including the beast knob, everybody has either a ranged or like a 2-inch or 3-inch range or like an
Mhm.
8-inch no min. So like you just got to be like 1 inch of the engaged person. Typically you'd use it on like a beast knob or something because they're the ones like that are in the 1-inch range. I
Mhm.
used it once. It was really sweet because it's like okay this, but it's like annoying because it's like all these different attack profiles rolling, and and then you have to keep track of that, and then people are just like sitting there waiting because I don't believe you can counter the bonus attacks from the other boys. You can only counter like the actual
No, it would you would
you
be
can
able
counter them right.
to.
You can still
Yeah, it's
counter them
just a
right, even though
reaction.
it's
Yeah.
like with right. It's still technically the same activation,
Mhm.
right? So,
But
it's
eventually, they're going to run out of reactions, right?
right.
Like,
You can
you're
you
assuming
can
that, yeah.
right. So that's it's really cool. It's just very highly situational. It's more of like a
I
Mhm.
mean,
flashy
I'll,
quad
I'll
than
say
anything.
this, right? It only requires one friend to be nearby to make it worthwhile compared to a
Mhm.
rampage, right? Because a rampage, you get a move and attack. This quad says each friendly fighter, doesn't say visible, which counts
Mhm.
himself,
Yep.
gets an extra attack on this target. So if I have my beast knob gets an extra attack, and if I have at least one friend nearby, that's an
It's another
additional extra
attack. Yeah.
attack. And then it's still worthwhile, right?
Eggrot's nearby
Because
with his little 2/3 ready to smash.
but
Ooh,
that's
baby,
better
get in
than
there.
no extra
And
attack, or better than a
exactly.
rampage, which you
It's
would
just
move and
extra
get one
dice.
attack anyway, right? It's extra
Mhm.
dice being
It's
thrown.
extra
So
Yep.
dice, dude.
once you have one friend nearby, it's better than a rampage if you're already
Yep.
engaged. If you're
Right.
already, it's a lot of ifs,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah.
So
There's like, well,
It's a
am
lot
I
of
going to
right.
attack with my strength 3 fighter or my strength 2 fighter and get countered to death on my bone? Am I going to kill myself with my own quad, right? So
It's
I
awesome.
think that's why it just doesn't. You don't see it as much, but yeah, like you said though, Kyle, there's a very clear use case in most cases for when you want it. It's just it still has set up to get there, but
it
I
just
mean,
the one
it
thing to
can
your point
roll.
too is like because you could sequence it how you want. If your beast knob had one life left, you could have
Yep.
everyone else attack first and have your beast knob
Hmm.
go last to
Yep.
try to preserve that if they want
Right.
to counter everything else, right?
For sure.
So
Right.
Yep.
really kind of a high risk, high reward.
And
It's
it's
all high risk.
which resonates with the warband, and sequencing resonates with the warband big time as well, right? It exemplifies them perfectly.
So
Right.
let's talk about some strategy here, some missions, right? So general strategy, take us away.
Yeah, so I mean, with those eggs, you're really just trying to put them in kind of awkward positions, so that you've got the opportunity to be reacting, and then once you're in position, either they have to spend actions to come over and then try to kill you, or they just have to deal with your reactions popping off. So setting up eggs is always it's a good way to start, and then you're really looking to pump out damage with rip it out and saw them up. Almost every turn, you're probably looking to get a triple triple and a double, so you can rip and you can saw. Just because you this warband, we'll get into it even more later too, but they just want to be killing. Their plan for most of it is to just kill. That's what we're here for. That's what we came to do, and we need to do it with burst damage because we can't stand and fight you for a very long. So, we're trying to set everything up with that reaction, with the abilities and stuff like that, to be able to finish off kills when it's time for us to finish those kills. So, using wait actions so that we can get the right sequencing that we need, so that we can wait for our enemy or our opponent to activate a model that we don't want to deal with, clapping back at us once we charge in and start swinging. But yeah, so Rob, I always hate playing you on objective missions, no matter what you're playing. Why don't you tell us about how to how to play these guys on them?
Yeah, man. You just basically every mission's a kill mission, just like you mentioned previously, right? Like we're neutrally like you can say to everybody else like, oh man, it depends on my matchup is how this is, but with like objective missions it really is matchup dependent and we're kind of very neutral, because like there's some that we're just going to absolutely clap and punish. Any type of move 3 moving on us, giving us an option to double react on something is going to blow it up. However, if something's super fast and wants to just max engage like Iron Jaws, we're in for a tough time, right? You have to set up zone of denial, and this is where you start testing your dice rolling ability of how it's going to go for yourself.
Just
You got
roll
to
sixes. That's all you got to do.
yeah, you just roll sixes and net
that's always the
everything.
plan.
That's it. You want to chip and weaken, and don't be afraid to kite backwards. Fight like chip, kite. The more they waste not damaging you, moving towards you, the more they get worn down, and then all of a sudden, pop! You just turn and pivot. Don't brawl. Like we do not want to brawl. We want to be sneaky. We want to fight things. We want to rip them up. We just want to do that. Just don't brawl. Pivot. If you're going to lose the point, lose the point. Go grab another point. You're not the slowest. Just dip, and then all of a sudden you're set up to react and move again next turn.
And use your range, because right, like you've got the abilities to be able to step back with a reaction and then still get functionally 2 attacks worth of value with an ability out of your guys. So yeah, don't stand and swing. Just be a coward sometimes.
It's there's no fair fight. That's their whole like motto and shtick, right? Like just play like that, and you'll be okay. Mike, you and I talked about treasure missions before this with each other, because we were discussing where they stand at this, because they don't have any real good carriers. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, no, it's tricky, right? Because everybody being at move 4 that can carry treasure means you're slow for a treasure mission. You either want to bring allies in to kind of compensate for that, but if you're just playing in-house, you're not in a great spot. However, as soon as you send a monkey over to something, stop them from disengaging, and then your guys catch up, again, it's time to cave some skulls in, right? They got nothing left. As soon as you get there, you just go, well, I didn't need to pick it up first because my plan was to kill you anyway. So thank you for, synergizing my game plan between killing you and also winning by going and scooping the treasure off you. So the Rip It Out's great for reaching across the board to, set up treasure carriers to get killed real quick. Again, leveraging that reaction so that you can, pick it off and then pick up the treasure at the end is also fantastic. Drum and Holla is going to help it so that you can, swing and be able to still be standing at the end to pick up the treasure instead of being countered to death if you're rolling 5 dice at 3 strength as well. But
like how you described it as like hunting people, though, actually fits the theme of the warband.
Yeah, it does.
Hunting for those eggs, hunting people.
It's so cool. Like they nailed the theme so well.
These guys are definitely, because of that, favored on kill missions. Just being on the receiving end of this, number one, saw them up, especially when you play against me. You roll a straight, you could just be 18 flat damage to someone's face. It's a big gamble burn because you could easily do 3 or 6, but you could also do 18, right? That is a crazy swingy ability. When you're doing a 120-point model that's strength 5 as it is, you're going to probably put some serious damage onto any target, even high toughness targets. Anything that's not high toughness, it's just dead. Atop of that, you have Rip It Out, right? You throw a spear, you get a hit. You do a huge burst damage of just damage on a target. So especially if you have like an 8 wound target, like a skeleton, and you hit a 5 plus 6, that's 8 damage right there plus your other hit. You're probably just instantly deleting chaff in some cases. Krule Stabbin, right? Just a surprise burst. You're trying to finish someone off. Takes your chaff for your mid-range units. That's that 1-4 profile, 2-5. Makes it so that you're more likely to kill somebody only on a double, right? And then, of course, Cruel Taunt. Stop them from killing you. You say, like, that's your biggest, most scary guy on the battlefield. I'm going to Cruel Taunt him, run away. Suddenly, I can't do anything. So being
You
on
have
the
if
receiving
you're
end of all these is brutal.
if you're using cruel taunt, you have to say you have to taunt your opponent too. You can't say, "Oh, I use cruel taunt." You got to talk a little bit of smack. These are the rules. That's how you play the warband right.
I usually go
Yeah.
with you have egg on your face because I feel it's thematic, but
It's
it's,
it
it's
was
really bad.
it's it's. I only say that if they kill an egg grot, right? I want you to feel bad about it.
It's like you're trying to guilt them like it's like you killed a dog from like Wilder
Mhm.
Cores, but it's just really a goblin that stole something else's child.
It's just
I mean, like
yeah,
it's kind of what.
that's
Uh,
creepy.
real quick to add on that before we go real fast into this. The reason I love them for kill missions and stuff like that is they're not a straightforward kill warband. Like
Mhm.
really have to. They really have to. Sorry, waving bye to people. They really want to think about what they're doing. It's not just running and zug zug, look dar. Like we're literally just out thinking and pacing our enemies. We're trying to grab tempo. We're trying to figure out when to strike. It's a really good, high expressive kill warband that really grows with your ability in the game. You can test them.
Mhm.
When I first played them, I think the first 10 games, I just got ran through. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then you start getting the feel and the pace and figuring out when and the timing on things. And then it starts clicking. So be patient with them. Be very patient because they're not an easy warband. You're not just running in there and being like, oh, I charge into you and then I throw dice. That's not happening. I mean, you
Like,
can if you want to test your ability to throw
You
I mean,
sixes, but
we don't say it a
that's
lot. It's just a very high skill cap
it
warband,
is a
yeah.
but it
very
has
high
a
skill
very
cap.
high potential because of that.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you're
But
kind
it
of person
also
that wants the hardest deck and the hardest team to play, that shows the results because of it, definitely a warband for you.
and
All right.
I think on top of that, like they have that high skill cap, but like also if you're just kind of picking up and playing them, you can spike whenever. So you
Yeah.
might be, they
Yeah.
can overperform. They can really
Yeah.
make up for some inexperience,
Rather
which is
rather
fun.
be lucky than good. But
Hey, I'd
talk to me
rather
about
be
deploying
both.
these
Take them
guys.
both, right?
Let us blow through this because we got some slides, some examples, right?
Right.
So understanding when to be offensive and defensive goes in a way. If you've played
Mhm.
Magic or card games, are you the beatdown or are you the control? You definitely want to utilize all your dice abilities to gain activation advantage by either assassinating or completely stymieing and stopping their tempo. You play in a 6-inch bubble and you use Cruel Trap, and that's what you want to do. You need to measure enemy threat ranges. If you just move in blindly and you don't set up correctly, it's going to be really rough. But you put an egg wrap behind something or on top of something, which we're going to see, all of a sudden they're deploying on the corner and they have to move within that. It's really bad for them. They're just moving and taking damage. You're interacting with them on their turn, and that's not a good feeling sometimes when you want to just play your own game. You want to play like a bully. Be that eighth grade kid picking on those sixth graders and don't think twice about it. We do not promote bullying. It's bad. But in this game, it's good to bully other people
Just
through
bullying
dice.
skills, right? We don't.
Bullying skills. Yeah, nothing real bullying, but like we're talking about like models, right? Not people,
Mhm.
right? Seriously, there's no honor here, and you really just want to make it feel unfair. Spike those dice, dude. Net people, just blow them up and send them to the stratosphere. And that's it, baby. That's it. Punish all your enemy advances by being loyal with your reactions and gang up with incredible burst damage if you need to. That's it. If you're invaded, pounce on them. You don't have to
Mhm.
sit there and overextend. Be smart, pivot, don't be afraid to run away. Mike, talk about the destination where we want to get back to.
Yeah. So like you said, right, we're trying to position and sequence and stuff like that so that we're not eating these shots that once we run in and we punch someone in the gut, we don't want to stand around for him to swing back. Don't give
Right.
him a
Yeah.
chance to recover, right? And so you need to be trying to utilize all of like the different 2-inch, 3-inch ranges and stuff like that, and checking out how far your opponent is and what their threat range is, so that once you're kind of leveraging your attacks in there, you're in a position to make it so that it's not real easy for them to absolutely smoke you. This was one of the things that I, at Adepticon, I really, really did a ton of. I just kept running eggs up onto platforms. It's
Yep.
so effective because
Yep.
they're already, they already can survive things they don't look like they should be surviving. And when you make somebody have to use extra move actions to get to them, you're essentially, it's as good as getting the net. You're forcing them to waste
Right.
actions that, they're
Plus
not doing anything
the
effective with.
platform, if they're above 3 inches, puts them to T5, which is actually insane.
Two, I
So
think it's only
Right.
2 inches,
Right.
right? You only have to be 2 inches up
Oh,
for
two
it.
inches.
So
2 inches up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
try to stay away from half inch of the edges so you don't have to roll those fall tests, right? Get that nice deep stance so you're holding your egg and
Yeah.
don't want to go tumbling off.
Really-
Protect the egg at all costs.
Yeah, that's it. You want to protect those eggs. It's you're setting up those no-go zones. You can put them
Mhm.
behind walls, like we talked about it. They don't have to be visible. They just have to enter and finish a move within it. And it's another headache layer. You're giving the opponent like, oh, you want to go there? Well, you think you're gonna go there. You
Mhm.
might get there, but you might not. And
Yeah,
that's just
that moment
another.
of tension when you're like,
Oh,
all
it's
right,
so
I'm
good.
reacting. And like they're like, I'm gonna double move. I go, could you show me real quick where you stop that first move action
Yeah,
so I can drop this die slowly? You can watch. Oh, it's a 1. Okay, never mind. Keep going, but take the 2 damage. But
But at the same
pro
time, you can't charge face because you're just gonna die instantly.
Mhm.
pro
But
new
like,
player tip. I'm
yeah,
sorry to cut you off. Pro new player
I'm getting
tip.
to the tips. That's why.
Oh my goodness. Tell people when you're playing these guys, be like, hey, I have a reaction when you're moving. So can you measure out each single activation when you're close to me? Make sure that they're aware of it. There's no
Mhm.
reason to be sneaky and play gotcha. All of a sudden I sprung the trap. Don't do that. That's poor sportsmanship. Let them know what you have as a reaction. Let them know that you need them to move a little bit slower so there's no bad sloppy play, and then roll nets, and then you just fairly win it, and then it just feels bad, but you did the right thing,
Yeah, legal scum moves, right? We
Legal
want to make
scum
sure
moves.
that we're
You're
making them
playing
feel awful, but by the rules of the game, not anything
right.
else.
Yeah,
Kyle,
it's not
you're used to that with death, right?
right. So
It helps you remember to pop them as well, right? Like if some because I think people get used to like, oh, I'm just double moving over here. No, can we talk about it? Just say each action at a
right.
time, just so that we can
It's
we
just
can both be aware of it.
good table manners. But
Yep.
so for one of the biggest tricks we talked about before was learning to spring the attack. Know who you can pick off easily and learn
Mhm.
threat assessment. It's if you're just like, I'm gonna go face the tyrant real quick. Well, let me tell you about those 42 wounds real fast.
Yikes.
You're gonna be there for a little bit, right? And then like when you were talking about these tricks, we're gonna go through all of them in the next slides. You want the blind eye, the taunt and run, the chip them down, saw them up, rip it out. This is like a Madden playbook for this, and we're pretty okay with it. And you just want to play real cagey, pounce when the moment's right. We've talked about it. Spring in the attack, be cagey,
Mhm.
pounce. You're not running. You need to execute targets, not be in sustained fights. If you are in sustained fights, that T3 feels really bad, even against like mid-range units. Like we're not trying to play fair here. Don't sit there and fight. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
When a skeleton hits you on a 4-up, you're not in a good spot. So
Yeah.
Yikes. Big even for that one damage, it doesn't feel good morally or
no.
wounds wise.
But
All
all right, we've been
right.
talking about these eggs. Now we could see it on the screen.
Oh,
Walk us through it. Drop.
The coup de
look at
grace.
him.
I mean,
Look at him
M-
creeping up there,
the
egging
Mike,
everyone.
Mike and I fell in love with these rascals, and we knew the minute how to play it when it wasn't visible. I'm on top of the two eggs are there. One's behind a solid wall with no visibility, and six and what is that? 5.9 inches to the deployed OBR Skelly Boy, and then the stalker's also up there, right? And there's no room for the stalker to charge and sit up there. I'm pretty sure it could climb and take a swing, but it's still got to make a move and still risks things, right? So pretty much, if we're trying to go around, we're taking damage, and we have two reaction machines here. This is simple. Enemy Bone Reaper moves within 6 inches. You spring the trap. The same egg can react again if they move again, and then you have another one, backup one for reacting. It's wild, dude, and it's just such a problem when the other one that doesn't even have vision on it is just like, oh, you moved in, cool, I'm just gonna pop it, right? Oh, I see you climbing towards that guy, he's gonna react. That guy's got another reaction and a counter waiting for you as well too. This is just a no look net, right? Like you throw out 5 up, they're just stuck in deployment. They're essentially just they're not coming in. They're coming in round 2. They're not going to be doing anything to round 3, maybe 4, if that. And these dudes just run after that and stay on the point, and you have the point, and they
And
can't
just
do
for
anything
those
about it.
watching, like as you're looking at other warbands and everything in general, the fact that this does not say visible enemy fighter
It's
allows
insane.
you to use it through a wall, and that's why this works the way it works.
Yeah.
Thank you, James
We said-
Workshop.
we had the trap set up, right? You don't need to see him to have your,
Yeah,
to
right.
suck him off the ground with that net,
It's
right?
true.
It's true.
Yeah, they
The
just get
one
picked
thing
up.
with this one too, yeah, spike trap
All
and
right.
the pit
Well,
trapper.
enough of
Real
eggs.
quick, actually, Kyle, just for the last one, I have one more egg.
Okay.
When you've got 2 eggs like this, if you are going to be double reacting, try not to react on the same one so that you can keep
Right.
that activation advantage. React with
Yep.
one, and if something else moves, react to the other one, because then you've
Yep.
still got 2 activations left, and it helps you just with the sequencing later on.
Keep options. If they want to
Mhm.
engage you, you can
Stay
counter, or if you
flexible.
need to move an abandoned point, you can do that as well. So
Yep.
Good point. Go ahead.
All right, I
This
want
one's
to talk
easy.
about Malcolmore. Let's go.
All right.
Lead us away, Rob.
Macklemore, you need one double as a requirement. It's value of the dice. You also need lungs to yell at your opponent. You could say, oops, you got egg on your face, or, you can tell them that you don't like their mother's meatloaf, whatever you want. Completely up to you. Don't be rude, sort of. Listen, how it works is Beast Knob yells at someone X inches away, right? It's the value of the dice. In this case, we see a double six, those big red dice on there. You don't need vision for this either, right? So he's yelling at the skeleton that's a 2-5 attack profile, right? Like, oh, your bone boys got no meat, right? And then he just tee hee hee just disengages or fights the other skeleton, doesn't care, right? That other one's engaged with the harpoon guy. So either he's wasting an activation to go there and then to spend a double to try and charge and hopefully make it an inch into the thing, up 2 inches, and then over and taking potential fall damage just to get to a point to maybe get an attack off. Or, and guess what? When he moves over, he's going to have to, take the egg right there, might say, hey, no, 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 no. You're going to get netted. Or,
Mhm.
maybe you just take damage, whatever it might be. But if he decides to attack the harpoon right there, T3, 15 wounds, all of a sudden my boy over there is swinging at 1-3. And that's not scary.
It's the same as the ghoul. So
That's
yeah, I
that's
would know.
worse than an
Doesn't do
egg rot.
much.
Egg
Yeah,
rots hit
It
harder
it's
than
is.
worse.
that.
Egg rots do hit harder. That is a big fact. So the taunt, you don't need vision, value of the dice. It could be sneaky to save a model, and then you could just go and punch that other guy right in front of you, and then
It's
have yourself a day. And it's wild, dude. It's such a good tech play. It's not always commonly seen because you're always trying to be like, how much damage do I do? But if you get that first activation, and you're like, I'm just gonna stop you from killing that. And if what?
one great way to leverage it is if you're so say we're in round 2, right, and the beast knob is engaged. You charge it in, and you're like, all right, I got to kill this thing. Beast knob's going to be double swinging. If you can get that kill, this is how you help keep the rest of your warband alive. If you've activated first, use it to help the other things live, so that you can again kind of force that sequencing to leverage getting that damage off later in the round.
Right. You have the point here. You don't need to actually do anything other than make it a nightmare for them to do anything. And the fact that they're move 3, the stalker's not, stalker's 5, but the fact the stalker wants it's 200 points to kill that 115-point harpoon.
Mhm.
And if he can't, and the harpoon's able to disengage, rip it out, disengage, run away, set himself up higher where the stalker can't get to, then okay, you're just having a great time. Like
All
Mhm.
right.
that sounds
Reducing
great.
damage, always good.
For
Uh,
sure.
what about this? No reactions in Dice Town.
Oh, no reactions in Dice Town, baby. You need a triple and you need a ball of boy, right? And you need to have some monkeys ready to fight. How it works is the Flaga uses drum and holla, and then it says, oh, these 55-point super soldiers of T5 are going to counter you to death. All of a sudden, you're like, well, you can't counter, and now I'm about to throw 10 dice at each one. Or I'm just going to whip it for another additional 10 dice. If it's 30 dice if all these get to double attack. So I mean, you're not able to counter, and then all of a sudden, what are they going to do? Swing back with their 2? Okay,
Cute, real cute.
yeah.
A 15th of the volume. Look what they need.
Look, they need sun to part of our power. It's pretty sick though. It's a cute little tech piece, and he's also a cool model. He's got a skin drum. I mean,
Oh,
let's go.
he's
Not
got that lizard piece on him too. He's got
He's
like a
got
guitar
the
strap underneath
salamander,
there.
the salamander.
Even
What's it called? Strap.
Mhm.
Yeah.
like even if these weren't the skeletons, right? And I think about like Wilder Core who get the free disengage if you
Disengage. You
damage
don't
them.
get to disengage.
I
You
can't
just sit
disengage
there.
out of range anymore, right? That's just
Right.
such a huge way to shut
Right.
down how a
Mhm.
warband operates.
Slaves
Yeah.
of Darkness, you're not healing. Sorry, you're gonna keep
Right.
remain at that wound total, right? You're not getting that D through, flat through, whatever it is. You just no, we're still fighting and I'm still killing you. Sorry, pal.
But
Right. Exactly.
let's put this all together. Walk me through
Oof.
the scenario.
All right. This is if you're looking at this and you're like, what is happening here? You're in luck because I'm going to say the same thing. What is happening here? Listen. I'm not going to bother labeling everything. We're going to break it down pretty simply, and I'm going to do it. This is turn 2. You bank 2 wild dice because you're strategery up here, right? You got the big fanks. And I chose to make a double 6, a double 4, and a triple 5. You can leave down in comments, but why didn't you make the rampage? Or you can say, hey, this is what I would do with these dice. All good. I want you to chime in and tell me. Now we're going to look at the top left of the screen, the top left quadrant. We see we have 2 dudes on the point. It's a Bala Boy and it's a Harpoon Buddy, right? And they're behind posted up behind that bamboo fence. The 6-inch aura is coming from the Bala Boy, so that way that's measuring the reaction. And then we have 8 inches on the Harpoon Boy, so we're ready to camp and fight this Warband. These are Sybarites. They're really fast. They're most likely going to get in there, but hey, if they don't and we roll a net, they're sitting ducks because they're just as fragile as us, right? So we have the ability to say, hey, what do I want to do up here? I'm going to wait to react, or I can rip it out. Okay, think about it. Go to the middle, diagonally down, in between all the skulls and meat trees, right? We have a monkey flat in the middle. We have a beast knob behind said monkey, and we have a bone hacker. To the north of the monkey is a homunculus, and to the left is a Vasilak, and to the bottom is that new fat boy Vexmore, right? They have significant threats against us. They will clean that entire point off. But hey, there's 4 inches measured from the leader. I got a double 4. I might want a cruel taunt one of them, and it just all of a sudden we might be able to survive. I might move into the Vasilak and cruel taunt him, and then hide behind my monkey so that the big chimichanga boy can't get to me. What are we gonna do? I don't know. But we got some 18 wounds road blocking us. Okay, think about it. Let's go down, pull it down. We also, I'm sorry, rewind. We also have a 555. What is that guy with the Psalm up gonna do? We can use it as a triple, or can we also use it as a double? Yeah, we have options here, baby. All right, let's go down. We got our boys entering from the bottom right over there, right? They're sitting there, they're ready to come out, and they're like, oh, we're getting ready. We have 8 inches. We have people in our range right off the bat, but we also have a Slake Slash down there who, according to one of our friends, is the most efficient move 6 fighter in the game, right? So listen, it really is. The thing's actually terrifying. It's not a joke. That thing is actually a murder machine for one.
Play it, have fun. It's
Yeah,
delightful.
no, have fun and then be like,
come on.
oh, my bad. Listen, you see that
It's
dude
fun to
is
kill.
8 inches away. He needs to be 6 to make a charge to move 6. He's moving 1. We got an egg down there. We're most likely going to react in that and hopefully pray to the heavens above to get that net. You get that net, see you later. And to the top of it is another homunculus, it looks like. And we have that in range of being able to rip it out or being able to move and do other things. So I want you guys to look at this. This is a lot to digest. Rewind me, listen to it or not. I don't care. But listen, what I do recommend is take some time, work through it. This is a pretty cool thought exercise and where we want to start to preserve our models, to stop our models, and what can we do to minimize casualties and maximize damage. This is a war band. We're going against Sybarites with allied and demons that are super fast. They're gonna get to us unless we react and stop them. What can we do to stop the bleeding or slow it down and keep our blood flowing on the end and keep the killing happening? Let us know, please. It's an awesome thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely having to choose between burning someone down or even using the quad for mugging, right? Like if you wanted to brawl, which I wouldn't recommend with the warband, but if you had to,
Kyle's learning.
like like
on that slide.
it's still there, right? So
This
definitely a lot of
lesson's
stuff to
complete.
think
Shut
about.
it down.
But
We
we're
did
running out of time here, so let's get through some of the last stuff here. So list generally, this is one box. Each box comes with a beast knob, 2 monkeys, 3 neck slices with a whole bunch of options, the Bala Boy and a clutch of grot. But I believe Rob, this is how you would build it straight out of the box.
Yeah, 2 harpoons, a bone hacka, a flaga. I mean, that's like the options of building. I like the flaga over the stabba. 3-inch range is sick. 1 bone hacka, I think, is mandatory. 1 harpoon's mandatory. Having 2 never feels bad because if 1 goes down, we have another source to rip it out to start keeping our momentum up. Mike, would you agree with this? Would you build it any different?
Yeah, no, for a one box, this is typically how I go. I think if you, I mean, it's hard because you only get the 1 egg grot, and I'm partial to them. But it's going for that second harpoon. Just, I mean, range damage is real good right now. The ability is real good. Range damage plus the ability, great, right? So why would you not mind having 2 of them? And that's really, you've only got what four options in this box: beast knob, monkey, and clutch of grot. You don't get to choose. That's just what they are. But yeah, at least one hacka, 1 harpoon. I agree. I like the flaga. Get that range. Get that 3-inch range and start whipping that crit damage out, baby.
And for those watching, if you like Saw 'em Up better, put more bone hackers. If you want a more generalist kind of guy, Stab is perfectly fine at
Mhm.
4424. So don't feel like this is the end all be all. This is just what we'd recommend building out of the box.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, your enjoyment comes before anything
Yep.
else. And what you want to do and build looks, I mean, like that's all up to you. Whatever you like, go for it. We support it as long as you're learning the basics on them. That's all that
Mhm.
matters.
And then
F-
if you're playing blessings in there too, you've either got, 30 points to chuck on, give that beast knob an extra attack, or you got two 15-point blessings. You've only got one clutcher god. Guess what? Maybe at 10 wounds, he really sticks around even longer. Adding strength to those harpoons is always a great option, so you can get
oh,
that hit through, so you can rip it out.
rip it out
That's
way
usually
easier.
one of the first places I go is to strengthen the harpoon.
Yeah,
The range,
second that.
And
not
for
the
those
melee.
watching, Blessings was added in a white dwarf where you could edit some of the
Mhm.
stats by spending some points, which I recommend checking out Warcry if you're interested. But allies, what kind of allies should we bring?
Classics, dude. Brugit, Clawback, Tyrant, Gutlord, Brute Boss, Arboy Boss. It's just destruction stuff, dude. Like these
Mhm.
are the classics for a reason. If you have a Gutlord or a Tyrant, you're going down to 7 models, which kind of stinks. Maybe if you just do more eggs, you could squeeze back up to 8.
Mhm.
Brugit with the Beast Knob combo, making him swing a what? 7 dice on six
Yeah,
strength.
7 dice.
Like you're clacking teeth in and nobody's asking questions. Brute
Yep.
boss, maybe if you want to kind of go brute boss, Ardboy boss to give yourself some more sustainability and braw
Mhm.
power. They're staples. KMK lacks a traditional tank, needs wounds to compensate. Gives them a little bit more staying power.
Mhm.
You dilute the pool, but unless you're Mike and you're Giga Chad and you stay
From my
in
experience,
box,
like just in faction is very, very
yeah, they're
good as well.
fine.
They
It's
just
100%.
totally serviceable.
feel better
Yeah.
with an anvil, but very good on
Yep.
their own. But
Right. It's
Mhm.
whatever you want to do. Sassy
And
thoughts,
yeah,
Michael.
they're just
Michael.
they're monster killers, which are already a cool take on Oryx, and then they're like, what if we turned that dial up a couple more notches and got real nasty with it? And that's they execute that idea perfectly. They really do offer great opportunity for testing out how much you understand the game. You're gonna know really really quickly if you're playing them well or not because they're either dead or they're not, and sometimes dice, but yeah, they really offer a great place to explore and learn a lot about the game. They look great. They're incredible models. Paint them up. Rob's got some incredible ones. I completely changed mine, so I don't think it counts painting my ones, but yeah, they look great. This was biggest wish list for him personally is having more eggs in there. I had to get my eggs shipped in from Italy, imported, so just to get up to the 4 that I ran in my list. And that was my 4 eggs and full of fun party that I took to Adepticon.
yeah,
Rob,
if
yeah,
anyone's interested in seeing those lists, check out War Tally has it. I think if you go to what's the other website you could check for it as well?
Wartelly has it. They just have it
Wartali's the
on.
only one. Yeah,
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 yep.
so it's in War Tally, or message
Mhm.
us directly. We'll post the list in the comments if you're
for
interested.
sure.
We talked
Yep.
about in one of our videos, our post Adepticon video too. Check out
That's
our
true.
video. Stay on
Go
the
check
channel.
out our
Check out our
video.
Please stay
videos.
here.
Don't go to Wartali. No, go to Wartali, but check out our videos. Spicy
Mhm.
lists, if you want them, are the ones that I ran in a TTS league. That was a blessed up Gutlord with a Brugit. Surprise ending. It removes everything. And Micah Sansom's Egg Pizza Party from Adepticon's another fun one. And you know what, guys? We made it under an hour. We're heroes. We might be champions. When we first started out, we're like, hey, let's do this in 30 minutes. Not happening. We lied to ourselves. But listen, don't lie to us, right? Because we love you. So go hit that like, go hit that subscribe, touch the little bell a little bit, just give it a little jangle. Not going to hurt. It's going to let you update. Come on, guys. Get in the comments. Let us know what you need. Let us know what you want to see next. We're going to be picking a chaos box. And we're going to try to go out through there, man. So for everybody, have a good night. My name's Rob,
Kyle,
Mike,
and have a great night, guys. Enjoy. I hope you get some working on.
bye.
get some eggs.
Get some eggs, big eggs.